Okay, hopefully this is working. I don't have great monitoring options here, so let's drop my own volume here a bit. Get a better sense of what you guys are hearing. I might also move this mic around. I can't put it up on the table with me because every time I hit, it's going to end up coming through the microphone. So if the microphone's kind of there, hopefully that's good enough. You know, say hello in the chat if you drop in. Try and get a chat window up here so I can see what's going on. What you're hearing at the moment, just as a sound check, is basically as loud as the music will get. So this is just my most recent track that I've done with this rig, and hopefully it's all kind of playing okay. So I'll drop everything back to just the percussion for a bit. And I realize with, you know, the majority of people in the world right now are probably asleep. So yeah, just give me a sense of how the balance is, like whether you're hearing the music come through okay. I definitely need to do some stuff in terms of, I really don't know how to maintain audio quality coming in. Like, so I've got the H6 mounted as a as an audio device, just passing stereo, because multi-track is just too hard for me to figure out at the moment. But then OBS, I've loaded an instance of Ozone, which is hopefully doing a little bit to clean things up. I mean, signals look pretty good from what I can see. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely all a work in progress. I don't even know if there's anybody in here right now. Alright. So here are the two Typhons. Cool. Alright. So what we can do is probably start a new track and let's do F, and we'll do F minor. Let's dig back. So Boards of Deluge 5 just came out, and I have not looked at these sounds yet. Let's give it a bit more juice here. Yeah, that's cool. It's a bit piercing. Oh, that could be fun. Yeah, that could be a nice start to a song. let's just layer something in. Start. Quick bass sound from somewhere. What's that? That one's literally called bass. Yeah, that'll do. Uh-oh. Did I forget to set this up? Okay. I forgot to set that up correctly. Let's see if we can get it to come in. No MIDI. Okay, that's fine. I'll just do it by hand. Oh, too late. So yeah, say hello if you're in the chat. Let me know if there's any balance issues. Let me know if, yeah, I mean, because I've only got direct monitoring from here. If I try and do it from the computer, so I've got what you guys are hearing, the lag is too ridiculous for me to be able to enter anything in on the fly. So I'm very much banking on comments here. Alright, let me at least see if I've got my input here from... So I should be able to get... Oh yeah, cool. Oh, fucking hell. So bad. No! When you just like completely miss a key. Yay, cool. So that's that one. I should probably save these patches just in case I end up doing something with this. Where is it? 52. And then, yeah, I mean, I guess I just. Let's call this 52 for now. Yeah. Where's the clear? It's after the Y, or after the Z. Save. Cool. And then it's all saved, and I can move on and do something else. So let's start, yeah, 108, that's fine. Other one. We need a different bass note. Let's do at random that one. Wait, no, I'll do this one. This one. What are we in? E flat. That's fine. And I don't really like the... That's wild. What do we like? What do we like? What do we like? A small amount of reverb. That's probably alright. Now let's crank up an initial MIDI 2. Oops, I made... Fucked that up so badly. Alright, well let's just keep that. I mean, I guess that's fine. Maybe not that sound. That sound kind of sucks. I need something stabby. I'm probably just better off making something from scratch. This says it's a plug. That's kind of cool. Yeah, good enough. I mean, it's fine. Save. I've done something wrong by putting that there. Save. No, do not save over. So what is it, 55 I did before? No. Oh my gosh. Alright. I've got all my recordings all fucked up, but that's okay. So, okay, I actually did save that one as 55, so... Oh, 52 I made that one, so this one should be 55. Oh dear. Meow. So, I mean, I don't know if anybody's even watching, because I've just been in my own space for like a big chunk of time. Looks like there's a couple of you there, well that's fun. Hello, feel free to say hello in the chat. I assume my chat is working. Hey, how you doing, man? So, like, if there's anything you want me to kind of go through in terms of this setup or this gear, if there's something you want to hear specifically, like, just kind of shout out some stuff and I'll do some stuff. Okay, so this one's supposed to be 55. I mean, the only thing that's kind of tedious about the Typhon is just this saving procedure, but I mean, it's better than nothing because you can actually name them in the thing. It's relatively quick. So what I guess I need to do is go back to this one and see if I can save it as... Oh yeah, that's actually pretty straightforward. 52, push save. So now if I go back, 52 and 55. Fantastic. Okay, so with the two Typhons, right, I've got a theory that, like, so when I've done complex Deluge tracks before, effectively what ends up happening is that the more layers you put in, the harder it becomes to gain stage your melody instrument, like your lead and your bass. And that also does seem to be where the Deluge feels weakest, especially in like a really complex arrangement. So I've got my theory is based on, so when, like, you know, big band music, right, where you've got, so the big bands back in the day, like the jazz bands, the swing bands, they used to be 17 piece, right? So you'd have four or five trumpets, 5 saxophones, 4 trombones, sort of thing. And these days, they don't pay big bands anymore when they're recording big band music in studios. What they often do is they just record the lead player. So they'll record the top notes like a lead trumpet player, and then they'll track using digital instruments everything underneath that. And like your ear cannot tell the difference. No, so they don't even do one guy several times. They literally just do the one guy on the lead part, and then all the parts that would be harmonized with him are all just like effectively digital inserts. And your ear really can't hear the difference because it hears everything below lead as just being a blend inside the sound of the top note. And so, sort of inspired by that idea, I have this notion that if you do like a good analog synth for your lead and a good analog synth for your bass, and you get that out of the stereo mix of the Deluge, that's going to have a way better, fuller sound. You've got a lot more control, a lot more performance options and stuff as well. You've got direct control over like all your effects and filters are all like just right there, like you can just grab them. But like you've got that beautiful rich sound of like analog oscillators and everything else. And then Deluge is doing drums, and it's also doing any other backing line, so any pads, any like counter melodies and all that kind of thing. And it seems to work really, really well. Like I've only just put this together in the last week and a bit. And I'm still getting to grips with the workflow of it. But like it's really good. I'm happy with what I've been able to sort of produce with it so far. Like I got a SoundCloud that's, you know, just like, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's just my name. I'll throw the link in the chat. And what's on there? So a couple of the most recent ones, like getting bratty with Ratty, and what else did I call them? Gosh. Yeah, so the OP-1, what it should be doing, and I might actually take this opportunity to do this if I have saved everything, turn everything off. So hopefully now, if I were to... Huh, that's weird. Oh no, good, it is working. Cool. I might unlearn that now though. Cool. So, Aunt Jetta. Oh, you're talking about the nanny, Glitz and Grandma. Yeah, so I've got, so on my SoundCloud, of the 5 most recent tracks I've posted, so not the 2 most recent, but the 3 before that, so Getting Bratty with Ratty, Slameriki, and Schlavette are all this setup as it is right now, and then a couple of the ones before it are this setup without the OP-1, or this setup with just one Typhon, because that's all I had at the time and I was still waiting for it to come in. Because, yeah, this one I bought in Australia, whereas this one you can only buy, they only made 500 of them, and you can only buy them from the Greek synthesizer store. And I wanted 2 that are visually distinct, just so like I don't derp out and accidentally, like I know this one I always do bass, this one I always do leads, and so like as I'm saving patches, I always know which order they're in, like I always know which one's set to which thing. Gosh, excuse me. Now the OP-1, so I've got it working in like 2 capacities. So right now it's a MIDI controller by USB, but then it's also got coming in audio on the Deluge, and so I can live loop it in, creating audio clips. So over the last couple of tracks earlier in the stream, which you'll be able to see once this stream is over and it's in like the archive, what I've got going is, like, as I'm building a track, I build some stuff where like I'll be using this to control Deluge tracks, and then I've got other stuff where I'm live looping in sounds from the OP-1 directly, because I mean you can literally just like go audio clip, set it to stereo, and you've got like, that's just, you know, straight OP-1, and I can go and get like drum kits. Hang on, it sounds like there's a lot of reverb on there. There we go. I'll grab like a different drum kit. And I mean, not that I've done it, but you could, now let me make sure I do this correctly. If I go, I need that should be cued. Set up a tap tempo, put the beat down, maybe 96, that's probably about right. Close that off. Wow, that's weird. So I must have played slightly before the beat with where that started recording, because it's missed just a tiny bit of the transient, so I must have rushed the downbeat, but that's okay. I mean, I could probably... So how would I fix that? I would probably just go like this. Hang on. There we go. Now I wonder if I can set the start for this. No. So it's going to kind of flam. That's not great. I'd probably just re-record it. But point being is that I've got options for how I bring tracks in, because I can be MIDI sequencing these, I can be MIDI sequencing this, I could be doing tracks on this directly, or I can be bringing audio in from the OP-1, which is helpful. So if I grab like another, I like Cuckoo's Nest, this is cool because it's got some weird sounds on it. So I can build like, you know, just keep building. What's this one? Don't think that's anything. Oh no, it's that one. That's empty. So I'll just get rid of that one. So I wonder if I can just put a bit of a attack delay on this to get rid of it. How do I do that? Go waveform. That's trippy. I never do this, so I don't know how to do it. Alright, I'm not going to fuck with that. No, I can't add. Alright, that's fine. There's probably a way to fix that, but I'm not super au fait with live looping. I only just learned how to do it like basically the other day. But I mean, it works well enough, you know, like you could actually build entire tracks. So if we do a... yeah, just ways to make more clips. Like it's all just a palette, right? And so, you know, I would say individually the palette of each of these things is not going to get you there. Like, because this is only a monosynth. Well, these both are monosynths. You can play them duophonically, but I haven't really delved into that beyond just like detuning. This is obviously like a polysynth, but like I said, like you really notice as you put more and more layers in that things like your bass drum, your bass part, and your lead part, they start to lose a bit of their fidelity, you know, in the waveform as you've got everything else going on. So to have like separate channels for those to be able to like mix and master as well is super helpful. I mean, in an ideal world, I'd have my drums separate as well. I've got a TR-8S like set up in my other kind of setup, which is in this room in the other corner. It's got like a TR-8S and a Matriarch and some other stuff. But the goal of this rig is something that I can take into a venue and do live shows on and just kind of create stuff from scratch. Like, as I get better at that workflow, just creating music from scratch using just these things. Sorry, I'm trying to understand your question. Saying regarding the Typhons are all separate from the Deluge, are you using their output? No, so these both have stereo outs, and they are going to... It's a little bit out of frame. The Zoom H6. So I've got this extra, like 2 XLR ins, which is you can buy like the extra adapter for it. And so basically, Deluge is stereo. The 2 Typhons have individual stereos because they are stereo signal paths. They've got stereo effects. And then it's just the OP-1, which is being put in through the external in on the Deluge. So those are being bussed together effectively. Yeah, so I don't know. It works great. It took me a while to come up with this as an idea, and it sort of evolved. I briefly had, I'm going to have some other stuff coming for it, basically, because the big drawback for this setup right now is that I have no velocity sensitivity anywhere, which is not good for playing expressively. So I do want to get like a keystep 37, run that here. I've got stands coming for the Typhon, so they'll go like here and here, and they'll be angled towards me, which will free up a whole block of space here. And then I'm going to put like the OP-1 will go there, and then I'm going to get one of those Akai LPD8s, which is like a little MIDI controller with drum pads and some extra knobs. And so like having drum pads for playing drum stuff and having knobs for that you have like bound onto certain parameters. Like a lot of guys do this. So a friend of mine, Synth Dad, who has an amazing YouTube channel that you should check out. So he's literally like, I'll put his, there we go. Just chuck that into YouTube. He's got a great YouTube channel. Like if you have a Deluge, he's got a great channel where one of the many things he does with his Deluge is show just how many MIDI controllers work with it and how you can basically like where I would need to jump in here to get to like say the filter for here. I've got to click this, I've got to go to filter, and I've got to quickly do all that. And on the fly, you got to remember where all your tracks are, which parameter you're going for. You got to be pretty quick. If I have a little thing here with a bunch of knobs broken out, I can literally just like have it set up so I can just go there and have that parameter straight away. So looking forward to that. Like later this week, basically, I'm hoping to have the keystep 37 there and the Akai. So I don't even know that that's worth keeping. I might just drop that. In fact, let me see if I can get a better beat. So we want, I liked that acetate one, that's a good kit. So I just need to click you to audio, learn you to stereo, and then just not fuck up on the first beat. I mean, what I could actually do is like track it separately. So do like that's close enough, and then now why didn't that work? Take a little bit of the high end off that, maybe a little bit of band pass. So, I mean, that is something, what I've just done there, right, is effectively recorded in the hi-hat part as is, decided it was too loud and too harsh, taken off some of the top end, taken off some of the low end, so effectively given it a band pass, squished it a bit, and then just, like, I've recorded a parameter shift of that resonance in the filter over the course of the bar that just gives it, like, a tiny bit of movement. And, like, that happens all very quickly. I mean, you can also, like, use a bit of mod depth. So that's, like, exaggerated. And if I pull that down so it's just a little bit. I mean, that's pretty cool. And then you've got, like, so I can go in here, smash some reverb. I mean, that's ridiculous. Yeah, I still think that might be a little bit much on the reverb, actually. Just like the tiniest amount. And then, oh, turn that. Sorry, that's better. I forget that the metronome, I'm so used to practicing with the metronome that, like, I sometimes legit just, it falls out of my brain that it's even there. Do you know if it's possible to bind a knob to a specific clip's filter or other parameters? Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, that is exactly what I'm talking about, right? So, if I have, like, if you take a look at something like the Akai MIDI mix or something like that, that's just a MIDI controller with a bunch of faders and a bunch of knobs. You can go through on Deluge and bind that to whatever you want. Basically, any parameter that you can access on this grid, with very few exceptions, you can then, like, bind that onto different knobs and then just have that available to you, which is awesome. So I very briefly had the Akai MIDI mix, but what I worked out is that just with the way the Deluge is now, because you can't save a configuration and then have that available as like a template for every track. You actually have to, like, basically do it from kind of scratch every time for CC stuff, which is, that's going to get fixed in firmware eventually, I'm sure. Like, they're going to find a solution for that. But so I ended up shipping the MIDI mix back instead to get the Keystep 37 because I really want velocity, and just the LPD 8 because I really want some, like, good ways to play drums. But yeah, I mean, it's absolutely wild because, like, with just the OP-1, whatever I record to tape, that's committed to tape. I can't, like, put in a hi-hat part and then grab some knobs and kind of figure out how I want to tweak that after the fact. Whereas, like, by recording it into Deluge, I then have the ability to do stuff to that clip after the fact. Like, you know, I can manipulate it on the fly, which is just, you know, it's such a huge thing. I mean, just because I'm conscious of the fact this beat's been going for a while, I might just add in some parts here. So let's get a MIDI track going. So 3, that should be this guy. So I might even just grab one of their patches. There's some cool ones in here. I found a really good bass the other day. Yeah, it's one of these. So just change the scale, do one of these. Wait, Microfreak, Mood, and Deluge. I know who you are. Yeah. Raza and Ari. Hey Ari, how you doing, man? It only just clicked. Yeah, so as soon as you like... Well, no, because, I mean, the Ari is at the end of your name, and I know you as, coffee pot bracket Ari, but, yeah, the whole putting the last name first thing, it did not click. I just saw, like, vaguely Japanese name. How you doing, man? Alright, let's get a melody going here. So we need a MIDI. Let's get a new, let's grab one of their leads. That's a little bit boring. Some of these sounds are so weird. That's kind of cool. That's kind of a crap part, but whatever. Yeah, it's starting to get weird now. So I mean, how quickly? I mean that part that I just put in. So I'll put the beat back in. That's how quickly the Deluge can warp an audio clip. Like if I bring that back to basically default where it was, reverb out. That's what I recorded just out the OP-1 dry. And then like just bit of bit crush, a little bit of decimation, and like it gets. It gets so crazy. I might just take that out, that's probably a bit much. You know, and it sounds weird just on its own like that, but... But then, like, sounds shit on its own. Now bring the beat back. And it's ridiculous. I mean, that's like pretty cool just as like a background texture, and then you put it in the context of the whole thing. I mean, it's cool that the stutter works on like audio clips as well. Whoops, hang on, I fucked that up. You can do it on like the whole thing. So the only drama with doing things this way is that the stutter will not apply to MIDI. It would be insane if it did, but I'm sure it would create all kinds of problems. But let's just get rid of the beat for a minute. Wait, what's going on here? Muck around with this cloud effect because it's like absolutely insane. It's just like, it's bonkers. You can just take something to outer space. Because if I now bring this out of cloud completely, this is our dry part, or dry-ish. It's not much. Anyway. There we go, just to make an end for the track. Yeah, so Door in a Box, man. I mean, yes, but like it. I mean, it definitely is because it meets the criteria of digital audio workstation, and the amount of shit you can do with it. Like, it's the closest thing to a DAW that is in a box, but there's something about interacting with hardware that is just very visceral, and it's a very different workflow because of how immediate and hands-on it is, and so that's what makes it like really, really cool, in my opinion. So yeah, I don't know. It's a really good time. I mean, you're gonna love it. All right, hang on. I got some sound in the background. What is that? Okay, that sounds like a ground loop from. Aha. Sorted. It's this cable. So what I might do is, can I pull this out? Ooh, that was dangerous. Oh wait, I know what it was. Okay, hang on. Yeah, that's now gone to the microphone. Okay, hang on. I'll turn that down. Put this back in. That's still the microphone. I'm not quite 100%. Oh, the stream crapped out. That's alright. You didn't miss anything anyway because I was having audio dramas. I'm probably going to wrap it up soon anyway because I have been sitting here for about an hour and a half. I don't want to go visit my wife at work. But yeah, I mean, as a kind of an overview of like what I'm doing, that's, you know, pretty much it anyway. I mean, the only other things I'd really do is like just show you. Yeah, actually, maybe I'll do one just quickly. I can save this. Why not? So it should be 56. Just do another new one. Alright, key. We'll just go random. And if we do. Yeah, Phrygian, why not? That's pretty acidy. Alright, that's kind of close enough. Actually, let's just do some octaves. So what's cool is if I now play, so you can see that these are getting sync from the Deluge. They have their own sequences going. So if I now play this, now that's gone weird because it's on the wrong subdivision. Put it on the same division. Let's put the probability down. Actually, no, probability 100 is the way to go. So now, like, so that's our original part. That's now got such a different movement to it because effectively now this line becomes the transposition for this sequence. And so like, if I go into the sequence, make it only 3 long. So by affecting the length of the sequence, this sequence now loops with this one differently. So it's creating like all kinds of new variations, which is like, it's so cool. I mean, if I put this in the context of like, let's get a kit again. That's alright, I'm not going to bother with the drum kit too much. And I mean, I can make this even more kind of dramatic if I start adding different notes here. So if I go, let's do, it should be a B, yeah. Something's misbehaving about that. I don't know where it is. Cloud on again, just because it's awesome. yeah. So anyway, I mean, that was fun. So there's quite a lot, you can do with it. Is it's a broad palette is the whole point of like what I'm kind of doing, and then yeah, the hope is to be able to get so fluent with this setup that I can go in, like do this in front of a live audience and not just on live stream, and be able to like not have any pre-prepared stuff and build music in front of people for shits and giggles, really. So yeah. Hi, Grandmaster Ong. Thanks for coming in. Oh, we've actually got a few people here at the moment. That's cool. Hello, everyone. Yeah, if there's any sort of, questions, comments, suggestions, I'm open to anything. So, because yeah, I mean, I was sort of debating what setup I would kind of use, whether I would use this one or some of my like at-home studio, which I can't. How could I do this? But maybe get up and lift the camera. All right, things are about to get. I'll try and do this. See if this works. Trying to see. Oh yeah, because it's going to be upside down. That's the only problem. Hang on. It's upside down. How do I fix you? Somewhere. Transform. Rotate 180 degrees. All right. Cool. I am extremely unshaved, so I'm going to get out of the frame. Because, yeah, we're in lockdown at the moment. Haha, reveal, corner studio. So, yeah, that's like the rest of my setup over there, which is, I got like TR8S, a Moog Matriarch, a DFAM, a Microvolt 3900, the Make Noise O Coast, the Strager, the O Control, and the thing on the like left hand side next to the speaker that's under vinyl. That's a Novation SL Mark III. So that's like, I call that one my battle rig, because that's the stuff that like, it's all hooked together for the same sort of thing, like the same kind of live looping, improvised workflow. But it's just, yeah, that is stuff that like, I wouldn't be able to take it into a venue. It's too expensive for one, and then like secondly, it's just that thing of like, it's such a pain in the ass to set up, and like, everything's analog, so it takes ages to warm up. So like, how are you going to go into a venue, set everything up, give everything ample chance to warm up so it's going to play in tune, and then like you're just praying that like nothing damages your gear. What I like about this other setup, so I'm going to put this back down now. Yeah, that's kind of close enough, and then I'll give it the old flip around. Shit, where was it? I saw you just before. There we are. So, yeah, what's great about this setup is that, like, other than the OP-1, which is catastrophically expensive, everything here is actually really reasonably priced. Like, the Deluge, I think, is about $1,000 American. These, I think, are only like $300 or $400 American. Like, I'm obviously Australian, so I have to try and convert to US and remove the Australia tax as well from the prices of everything. But like, a Zoom H6 is like, so in Australian, which is the same as Canadian, if that helps the Americans watching, it's like 600, 1,400, and then this is like catastrophic. It's like $1,900 in Australia or something. It's so ridiculous how overpriced it is. I love the OP-1, but it is catastrophically expensive, and you could not pay the Australian price for it. I got mine on special, which was basically to pay the same as what Americans pay, and the Americans complain that the OP-1 is too expensive. So, I mean, I will write love letters all day to the Deluge and the Typhon. I think for the money, the Typhon is like the best synth you can basically buy at that price point that has analog oscillators. I mean, you're getting a dual analog oscillator mono synth with effects and a sequencer. I mean, it is disgusting value, and I really feel like they kind of got screwed over by COVID, because this came out, like the Typhon basically came out during COVID, and so like I don't think they necessarily saw the sales that they might have seen otherwise, but like it really should have been the most hype mono synth of last year, and it flew under a lot of people's radar, I feel. But then people feel that about the Deluge as well, so like, I don't know. Yeah, seriously, for sure, I would happily pay another $200 for the Typhon, like 200 Australian, so what, 150-ish American, and I still think it would be a very worthwhile proposition. There are some great, like, virtual analog and digital synths in that price bracket. There is nothing analog-wise in that price bracket. I mean, because you think about like Moog Minotaur maybe, or Moog Siren, they're a few hundred extra and you have no effects. And you've got a mono chain, and so you're having to add effects to it. It's extra stuff. Like, it's just extra stuff. And so my whole philosophy of this is do it in as few pieces as possible. And so you've literally got like a stereo path, a stereo path, a stereo path. That's your 6 channels. And then you've got the option, I can bring in stereo through Deluge. So I've got a stereo that I can bring in. And I don't actually know if the external input on Typhon is mono or stereo. I suspect that it's mono. Now I put a pocket operator. In fact, fuck it. I'm even going to do it right now. Let me grab my... Oh, I don't know where batteries are though. That's an issue. All right, next time I stream, I'll put... so I've got the PO32 Tonic, which is the drum machine, the Teenage Engineering little pocket operator drum machine. I've put that through a Typhon, and it sounds ridiculous because it's affected by the filters, the VCA, and the effects chain. So, like, you can have stuff coming in that's going through a partially analog signal path of filter and amp, and then also get access to those effects, and it will blend in with what the Typhon itself is doing, and it actually sounds like ludicrous, really, really insanely ludicrous. I just don't have any batteries for the pocket operator to be able to demo that right now. It's on our shopping list. But in theory, right, so even with this setup, like, I can have external, and external on the OP-1, so I could bring in a microphone, I could bring in a bass guitar, I could bring in another instrument. Like, there's a lot of options. Effectively, I've got 3 more inputs that I could use without sacrificing stereo on my mixer. So, I mean, they're only mono ins, but, like, you know, who cares? Especially if, at least as far as, well, with the Typhons, they'd be mono in, but you could still get stereo on the effects send out. On the OP-1, I think it will only send stereo if you're using the stereo spring reverb, so effectively it's a mono in, but once you've got that audio into Deluge, you could then similarly chuck like stereo reverb, ping pong delay, whatever you want. So I've conceived other ways of kind of doing this where, like, if I do want an extra layer, I could bring something in a live setting, probably a bass. Like, because I'm a bass player by trade, I would probably want to bring a bass guitar and live loop in some bass. Otherwise, the other thing, which I'll just get up and get quickly, Like, next time I stream, I'm probably going to throw this in the mix. Because, like, if I push everything up, just make a bit of room here. So, like, this is another perfectly viable setup where instead of having the OP-1 for live looping, I can either run this like into the Deluge so I can live loop, or if I'm prepared to sacrifice stereo, I could have it run direct to mixer. Either way, it kind of really doesn't matter. I mean, the other thing is you could just have it run to Deluge just as an open audio source, which is fine too. Like, you don't actually have to live loop. You can just create an audio track and leave it wide open, and then it's just going to be listening on that the whole time. So quite often when I'm improvising a solo, that's all that's happening. But with this, the cool thing is, similar to the OP-1, it'll send audio, obviously, but it will also send MIDI. So you can use it as a MIDI controller. It will also accept MIDI. So, like, you can be using it to stack a track on the Deluge and then have the Deluge come back and control itself. So, like, if that kind of makes sense. I mean, effectively, you're doing MIDI input on here, and then the Deluge in turn sends the MIDI back to control this. So you've then got the ability to, like, mess with all your parameters on the fly. So, and the big advantage of doing that would be with this guy. Again, it's got its own effects. They're not great effects, but they're better than nothing. You know, basically, like, not knob per function, but slider per function, so you've got good options there. It's an 8-voice polysynth, but the biggest thing that is the advantage, so you lose the presets, which the OP-1 has, but what you do get is a velocity-sensitive keyboard. So the velocity does not send to this, the actual synthesis. It's such a bizarre choice that they made when they made this, because, like, it's a velocity sensitive keyboard, but the actual signal path itself does not respond to velocity. So it's a fixed velocity instrument in terms of the thing itself, but then if I'm using it to control something else, if I'm using it to send MIDI, it will actually transmit velocity. So if I'm using it to control one of the Typhons, for example, or even just one of the Deluge parts, I'm getting that extra level of expressiveness by being able to have velocity. So, I don't know. It's like, I haven't actually hooked this up to this rig yet, but it's definitely something I'm thinking about. Alright, well, anyway, guys, I've got to go and visit my wife at work. Yeah, I mean, look, probably because with that keybed, like, they use the same keybed for all of the Reface series, and I think, I'm not sure about the DX one, but certainly the CP, which is the electric piano one, that does respond to velocity. So, yeah, I mean, it is shared keybed between all of them. But, like, it's just weird that they didn't make it so you could route velocity. And it's entirely possible, I imagine, that if they care enough to, they might put it in firmware as an option. I hope they do, because I'm one of those people who thinks that this is, like, a tremendously underrated synthesizer. I almost sold it at one point, and I'm glad I didn't. I'm intending for, like, my kids to learn synthesis on this, because it's such a good beginner synth that, like, all of the stuff you would want to know about the basics is all right there at, like, at a slider per function level. But yeah, well, anyway, it's coming up on 2 hours, so yeah, guys, like, cheers heaps for, you know, coming and tuning in and hanging out and stuff. Given that, like, Australia's in lockdown mode at the moment, I plan on doing a lot more of this. So, you know, like, if you're keen to come back, do the whole subscription thing, I'm I assume most of you have probably come in from like a Discord in which I spam my music relentlessly, so always appreciated. Yeah, cheers for tuning in, guys. I hope it was enjoyable for you.